Thank you. Yay! Yay, yay! Yay, yay! I'm so happy! Yay! Yay! Yay, yay! Woohoo!
Hey buddy, Crow back again with another pickups video. It's been about 4 months since I did the last pickup video, and quite honestly, I don't actually go out and buy as much, as many games as I used to, but I do have a handful of Switch games here. I have actually a Wii game, a couple other items. I did pick up some Steam games during the Steam summer sale, so I'll throw those in here as well. Just so you're aware of games you may not have been aware of. I might as well throw in some Transformers I picked up, as well as a handful of vinyl records, because if you've seen a previous video of mine, I did start collecting vinyl records. So I kind of picked out the ones I've gotten that weren't in that video that I found quite interesting. And if you're just interested in any one of these items in particular, I do like to break down the video into the segments now that you're able to do that, so you can just kind of skip around the video as you want. But why not? Let's just start off with the Transformer stuff, since this is going to be really quick. I wouldn't have shown this off otherwise, but I did pick up Astro Train. I like really focusing on the Masterpiece ones, as well as the reissued G1 Transformers. I had to get Astro Train because this was one of the ones I had when I was a kid. He's a triple changer, changes from a train to a shuttle to a robot, of course. Quite honestly, these things are pretty expensive, somewhere between $40 and $50. I don't quite remember how much I paid for him, but the reason I'm just might as well show that is because this is the most recent one I got, and this is not a reissue at all, but this is a crossover between Ghostbusters and Transformers, and this is like if the Ecto-1 was a Transformer, and it's done in the style of Generation 1 Transformer, and I thought that was really awesome. This is, what's his name? Ectotron, Ecto-1. I don't know if I'll ever take this out of the package or not, because I've pretty much for the most part been leaving these in the packages, but I have been known to actually take other stuff out. Like I took out Devastator, and I built Devastator. I have them on display over there. And I took out the, like the Bumblebee and the other little guys too. I saved the blister packs, but I took those out as well. So I may, if I find a spot to display these, I may take these out. I like displaying them in the robot forms. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. I think I paid maybe 60, 70 bucks for this on Walmart.com. I don't think it came from Walmart. I think it came from somebody selling on Walmart. There's also a DeLorean. It's like a crossover, Transformers crossover with Back to the Future, and I kind of missed out on that one. They did a very limited run of those, but those may be coming back. I'm not sure, and I'm not willing to pay the astronomical prices on eBay for those things. Really briefly, I want to show off this. This is the My Arcade Namco Museum. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I did make a separate video for this entirely. I'll put the link in the description below, but this has some really odd design choices, and that's the reason why I wanted to put it in its own separate video. So yeah, long story short, I found this at Target. Retail price was $100, but it was on clearance when I found it, so I wound up paying $60 for this. I think it's kind of worth it, considering the price of the other My Arcades, and you're getting, what, 20 games in this instead of just one. It's just that some of the game selections are kind of odd, and not only that, but you'll just have to watch the other video to find out why I just had to make this its own separate video. Alright, another item that I am going to be making its own separate video for. I actually started on it, but I haven't finished it yet. And I did wind up purchasing an Evercade. I know there were people that were asking me, hey, are you interested in the Evercade? And for some reason, at the time, like last year when I was being asked about this, I was like, no, I don't know, I'm not really in the mood, what's the point, blah, blah, blah. These are just the same games I could play emulated. But as people were talking about it, this has been out for about 2 months already or so, it got me interested, and I got started thinking, you know, maybe it is worth it to, you know, just to like pop in a cartridge, sit back and play a couple games. So I kind of wanted one, and then what really sold me on it is this thing was cheaper than I thought it was. I thought it was in the $200 range, but in fact this package, this bundle right here, was $100, and that's kind of what sold me on it, was how cheap it was. So I will be doing a separate video on this. This does come with 3 game packs, because I did get the premium pack. There is a starter pack that only comes with 1, but honestly, for the bargain, you're getting 3 games, 3 cartridges, which normally retail for $20 each. Also, I did wind up, after I, actually not after, but at the same time I bought it, I did buy this as well, the Technos Collection 1. And after I played it for about a week, I did buy another cartridge, this Atari Collection 2. I haven't even opened this one up yet, but I will have a separate video just on what I think of the Evercade as a whole, and I may actually do separate videos for each of these cartridge releases, because that's just something I feel like I want to do. Alright, so let's get into some actual games here. We'll start out with the Switch. In February, I actually wound up ordering this game from I Am 8-Bit, and it wasn't shipped until May, and it was primarily due to COVID and delays with that, and that is Sayonara Wild Hearts. But because of the delay, they were like, hey, you know, we're going to send you an extra bonus when you get it. So I actually got a little single. It's like a 45 with 2 of the songs on here from Sayonara Wild Hearts. There's nothing out of the ordinary with this single. It's just a regular black vinyl. But this and one other record, if you go back and watch the starting a vinyl collection video I made, that is the reason I kind of started getting, like I got a little record player. I actually have another record player, vinyl player, whatever you want to call them, a little bit more expensive, higher end, because I started really collecting vinyl, and it kind of started because of this and one other album I picked up. But as for the game itself, this was being talked up on the Spawn Wave podcast a lot, and I was into rhythm games, and I got an email from I Am 8-Bit saying, hey, you know, $35, get the physical copy of it. So yeah, of course, you know, it sounded interesting. This has in there, it doesn't have a manual, but it did come with a patch. So I do have a patch of this, and it comes with a sticker, but no manual still, but it does have a reversible cover. But the game itself, I really enjoyed it. It's a kind of a minimalistic game. It really doesn't, you're better off not really knowing anything about the game going into it. And it just kind of leans you intuitively as to what you should do in the game. It's a rhythm game, but it's also kind of an action game where things happen in time with the music. And you'll be like running, punching, flying, all to the music. And I guess the goal of it is to get, I can't remember if it's, yeah, gold rank on all the scenarios. So, you know, I played through the whole thing from start to finish. I died a lot, and I didn't get gold rank in most of the sections of the game, but I found the game like really, really amazing. I highly recommend Sayonara Wild Hearts. And then the first actual game I bought since my last pickup video in April was Clubhouse Games for the Switch. And I bought this on Amazon. This was a $40 title, but it says it includes 51 games, but I think only 50 of them are actually games. I bought this because it was something me and my wife can play, and it kind of reminded me of like a Wii Play, those type of games, and I didn't even realize that at the time, but Clubhouse Games is kind of a series that was on like I think on the DS and the 3DS, and this is one that just showed up on the Switch. Out of the 51 games, we only really played a handful of them so far. There are our, you know, favorites, but the ones we played just briefly, 4 in a row, which is Connect 4, and that was kind of addicting. Especially since we don't have a Connect 4. Also, no cleanup. Yacht Dice, which is actually Yahtzee, which we like to play, but I think the rules are tweaked a little bit from Yahtzee. Then there was Golf, which is kind of like, almost like a little tabletop golf game. It's just, you know, very simple top-down view. My wife actually liked it more than I thought she would. Then there was a billiards game, which is just, you know, regular pool. And that was pretty interesting. Nothing fancy about that one. I have to mention there was a darts game because I really enjoyed the darts game in that. And it's kind of funny how a lot of games that I've been playing this year specifically have some sort of sub-darts game, and this is just another one. But this is, for a motion-based darts game, one of the best that I've played. There's also bowling, but honestly, I did not like this version of bowling at all. I could not come to grips with it. To me, it's nowhere as good as Wii Sports Bowling or Wii Sports Resort Bowling. So I found this bowling game really disappointing. I don't think we'll ever be going back to this one. Then we had to try one of the toy games where you have like set areas. You could position the people and you hit the button to make them spin. So we played toy soccer, and that was pretty interesting. There is an air hockey game, which I believe was in one of the Wii Play games, and that was actually not bad as well. I liked the slot cars game, but a little bit disappointing there were only 3 tracks, but again, this is in a bundle with 51 other games, so they didn't really spend a whole lot of detail on each individual game. And then fishing, my wife really liked the fishing game. I thought it was meh. And then there's a shooting gallery, of course, which I remember, seemed very similar to the one that was in one of the Wii Play games, but the shooting gallery was pretty fun as well. So if I were to take this on a trip or something like that, there's a lot of single-player games. I haven't really played any of the single-player games, but for multiplayer, it's interesting. This is like really one of those games that was created with the Switch in mind, where you could just take the Joy-Cons, you just automatically have tools for 2 players to play games. But yeah, there's a lot of value in this, even for $40, because there's just a wide variety of games to play. Next up, I got Wonderful 101 Remastered for the Switch, and this comes with a slipcover that is got a lenticular image on it. I did fund this through the Kickstarter to get it, and that's probably why I got the slipcover, just to differentiate it from the retail version. But Wonderful 101 was one of my favorite games on the Wii, and I spent a long time playing it. But it does have what I feel to be a very steep learning curve. And it's actually one of the Wii U games that used the gamepad itself very well, because it didn't clutter the screen with all the stuff that you need to know, because you could look down at a glance and see what you needed to see on the gamepad. And there were some areas in the game where you were inside of a building, but you still needed to see the outside of the building to make some adjustments on certain things. So I played this, it's been a long time since I played it on the Wii U, and I could not come to grips with this on the Switch, to be honest. To me, it was a lot easier to play on the Wii U because you had the gamepad and everything. Now, I was playing, maybe this is easier to play in handheld mode where you could actually use the touchscreen, but I was playing on a TV with a Pro Controller. Yeah, first of all, I couldn't remember how to do anything in the game. It's just one of those things where I had to keep playing till it clicked originally. And I guess it's not like learning to ride a bicycle, because I could not remember anything in the game, and I had a really hard time, and I died in like the second level, which is actually what happened to me the first time I played it. But I just like the crazy Super Sentai feel of the game as a whole. It's just a fantastic game, but honestly, with the Switch version, you got all the clutter on the screen, and I couldn't remember how to, it was tough for me to figure out how to make things go away, and then it would just pop back up again. When I bought this, I knew there might be the potential that I never actually played on the Switch, other than just a little bit that I've just played and is the footage you're seeing now. But honestly, I've already played through it once. It was a very long game, and it was a very kind of almost tedious game to play. But just the action of the game and to see what would happen next was what kept me going to it on the Wii U. But now, do I really want to go through all that again? Especially since I got all this other stuff to play. I don't know, I just kind of bought this for the collection, I guess. Alright, I did buy a Wii game. I did buy Domino Rally. Now, why did I buy Domino Rally out of nowhere? Well, first of all, I found this on eBay for $2.50 plus shipping, so it was around $6. And it comes with the manual and the game. Everything's in excellent condition. So, I was actually watching Retro Pals. Every Monday they put up something that they've streamed. And one of the games they had streamed was Domino Rally. And right off the bat, it had a feel of Katamari Damacy. Not the gameplay, but the style of like the acting and everything. The very, very bad acting, the situations in which come up in the game. So just for that alone, I had to get it. Like the very first stage, you have to get a girl's balloon out of a tree. In the second stage, you have to help a guy sink his putt. And then like the third stage, you have to answer a phone. All with ridiculous circumstances going around it. But what happens is I don't know what the name of the guy is on the cover. And this is just Domino Rally in the US. It's got a different name in Japan and in Europe as well. But you're basically running on top of dominoes, and as you're running, they fall over. But things like trees and buildings and blades of grass act like the dominoes in the game. And in sections where there are huge gaps, you can put a line of dominoes, and you can make it go straight or hook it left or right to make him go where you want to go to find hidden stuff, or actually make it towards the goal that you're going for. And that's basically the game in a whole. I just didn't like the fact that this was all Wiimote controlled, whereas you had to point at the screen to point to where you wanted to angle the dominoes, and if you wanted to stop, you had to regain your balance by kind of balancing the Wii remote in your hand. I just felt it would have been a better game if it was, you know, just solely controller based and not motion based. But because it's on the Wii, they had to do just the motion controls. But yeah, just the bizarre nature of this game is why I had to get it. I think this is one of those hidden gems. I mean, not so much for the gameplay, which is okay, I feel, but because of the cutscenes and everything. I think in the intro of this video, I put in one of the very badly acted cutscenes. So those were the physical games I bought. I did buy a bunch of digital games in the Steam Summer Sale. Let's just go through them quickly right now. So first off, I purchased Rhythm Overdrive, and this is a rhythm-based shooter game. It's a very cheap game, not much to it. You select your ship, and each ship has different firing abilities. The creatures or the ships that you're fighting against only move in step with the music. So it's kind of an interesting game. Original price was $2.99, and I bought it on sale for 59 cents. So kind of just, you know, why not throw away 60 cents to see what this game is like? It's okay, but I'd say pick it up on sale if it looks interesting to you. Next up, I bought Space Invaders Extreme, and I liked this game on the PSP. I liked it on the DS. I think it was on the Nintendo DS, but when I found out there was a Steam version of it, I was like, well, I'm more than likely gonna play this version over those versions now, and I really enjoyed it. Originally, this would cost you $17.99. During the Steam Summer Sale, it was $7.19. I was like, sure, go ahead, let's buy it. This is a great game. Next up, I bought Inside, which is kind of a pseudo-sequel to Limbo. I never finished Limbo, but I've been hearing, you know, things about Inside and the oddities of the game and how interesting it is. It does feel a lot like Limbo, but the game originally cost $19.99, but it was on sale during the Steam Summer Sale for $6.79, and that's a price I could definitely go for. And now I'm happy to both have Limbo and Inside on my Steam account. Next up is a game I don't remember where I heard about it, but it's called Downwell. And this is a very cheap game to begin with. It's only $2.99. It was on sale. The sale price wasn't too much cheaper. I got it for $1.49. But this is one of those games I found very interesting because you're just falling down a well. And as you're falling, you could fire downward from your feet. And you could jump on creatures, the creatures that you can jump on, but then you have to shoot the other creatures. The whole point is to not get hit. And along the way, you could find, you know, certain offsets to the well that may lead to shops, or just, you know, hidden caves full of, I don't know if there's monsters in them, but certainly sometimes prizes or gold can be in them. And your goal is just to get as deep as you can before dying, and that between every section you could choose a power-up, or, you know, especially during the shop, you could upgrade. I just found this game, I can't even remember how I found out about it, but I was like, that's a game I need to get. It immediately went on my wish list, and then I immediately bought it the first time it went on sale. Alright, next up, I bought Redout Enhanced Edition and some of the DLC. I spent in total $15.26 on this game. Now, this is a game I actually have on the PS4, and I bought it when Toys R Us was going out of business, so I got it for a really cheap price for a PS4. But I was really interested in getting it on Steam as well, just because I'm into these futuristic racer kind of games. But what's really interesting about this game, what differentiates it from Wipeout, is that you get this lower angle of view from your ship. And the game just seems to go way faster than Wipeout does. So, originally, the game itself would be $34.99. And that, to me, is a little too much to pay. But to get the game and DLC for around $15 mark on Steam, I think was pretty good. Now, speaking of Wipeout, I did buy another game very similar to Wipeout. This is Ballistic NG. And if you didn't tell me this wasn't a Wipeout game, I would have thought this was a Wipeout game. Originally, this was $7.90 during the Steam sale. I got it for $5.59. This is Wipeout. There's no way around it other than just the names of things. Everything looks like Wipeout to me in this game. And it's not a bad thing. It just blows my mind how close to Wipeout this game is. From the style of the ships, to the track layouts, to the textures in the game. It's really amazing. You could fool somebody into thinking this is Wipeout. And because of that, I think I like this actually a little bit more than Redout, just because it does feel more like Wipeout. It feels exactly like Wipeout. It's just crazy. So, yeah, I had to get this. Next up, I had to get this. Somebody, I think Mart from Zaccaria Pinball was talking up this game. Lonely Mountains Downhill. Originally, this is $19.99. I did buy it 25% off. Normally, I don't buy things that are not that much off, but I wound up paying $14.99 just because this game looks so interesting. You're riding a bicycle downhill, and you just try not to crash. You have to make it through all the checkpoints and not crash an X number of times and make it all the way to the bottom of the mountain. Sometimes you're tempted to try to take shortcuts. There are secret areas to find in the game, and I just find this game really amazing. I love the physics, especially when you crash. I just found this game, like even before I bought it, really interesting. And even after I bought it for $15, I do not regret the purchase at all. I really enjoy this game. Next up, a game I bought that was not on sale, and this is Heavy Burger. I just kind of had to break down and buy it. It's not priced too badly at $7.99, but I like Data East games. In particular, I am a big fan of Burger Time. So this was on my radar for quite some time without really even knowing exactly how the game played. But it's pretty much a game where you jump from arcade to arcade machine, trying to get to the end with an item. I don't remember what the item you have to pick up is, but you basically play as the chefs from Burger Time, but you pick up weaponry like you would in like Heavy Barrel. So hence the name Heavy Burger. But yeah, you and another team try to pick up this item in the middle and try to make it all the way to the end. It's just a lot of shooting. Each stage, each arcade machine you swap to has different gimmicks in it. I've only played against the computer, but this seems like a fantastic game to play with other people if they're into this kind of thing. And it can get hectic, and I really like the fact that when you do win, Ronald Reagan wants to go out and have a burger with you. Yes, like hence the end of Bad Dudes. But yeah, this is just one hectic game, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it was well worth $7.99. And I just thought it was one of those games that wasn't going to go on sale, so I just had to pluck down the price for it. Next up, I purchased a game that's in early access, Zeke's Peak, originally priced at $8.90. I picked it up for $1.74. And what this actually is a video game version of ice cold beer, which is something that would appear, I think, in bars and arcades, where it's just, there's like a line of metal across with like a marble or a pinball on it or something like that. And you basically have two controllers where you have to navigate one end of each of the rod separately to get the ball to fall into holes at certain levels and not other holes. So it's kind of like a vertical version of Labyrinth in a way. That, if you remember that wooden toy where you kind of tilted the area to make the ball fall in the holes. This is a lot like that, only a vertical version, and you're controlling the ball just with a piece of metal or wood or whatever it is, trying to get the ball to go up in a certain way. I'm sure you can tell what's going on by the video. And I just find this a very entertaining game to pick up and play every once in a while. Next up, I picked up a flower. I remember getting this from the Journey collection, I think it was called, on the PS3, which included Flow, Flower, and Journey. But this is just flower. I saw it was on sale. Originally $6.99. It was on sale for $2.69. I thought it was just an interesting game to just sit down, relax, and mess around with for a while. The only weird thing is that when I first started the game, I saw some graphical glitches. I don't know if it's my computer or something with the code or whatever, but most of the game is glitch-free. But you just control, like, a waft of wind, I'm guessing, like pushing these flower petals around, and you have to go and activate all the other flowers in the area, and then it causes environmental change, which is, it's so weird, and it's just kind of one of those games that's almost not even a game. It's just like, hey, just push around these flower petals and see what happens. So pretty interesting, especially for $2.64. Next up is a game called 140, and I actually bought the soundtrack to this game before I got the game. But this was originally $4.99. I picked it up for 79 cents. Well worth it for 79 cents. This is a very minimalistic game. It's a kind of almost like a rhythm-based platformer. It's almost like a rhythm-based Thomas Was Alone, where you're kind of controlling the shape. And it's kind of funny because you're a ball as you're rolling, you're a square when you're stopped, you become a triangle when you jump, and everything in the environment is moving according to the rhythm. So you've got to time your jumps and everything, figure your way. It's a little bit of problem solving as well. Very minimalistic, as I said, because the game does not provide you any instruction at all. You're supposed to figure it out on your own, and I think that's the way to go with this game. Well worth the 79 cents I spent for it. Next up is a game by the same people that worked on 140, and this is Thoth. Again, this game was $4.98. I picked it up for 79 cents, and I picked it up just because it was by the same people that made it. I didn't know anything about it. When I started playing it, again, no instructions, very minimalistic, and I didn't know what I was doing, and it turns out this is a twin-stick shooter where you move one analog stick to move your character or shape, and you use the other one to shoot. And basically the goal is to shoot all the other objects until all the color disappears from them to move on to the next level. And you keep doing that from level to level, and it's just very interesting and minimalistic, and can be very challenging as well. Some of the stages, it took me quite a few number of attempts to get past. And it's an interesting game. I don't think I like it as much as 140, but again, if you want to do very simple twin stick shooter where you have to avoid as much as shoot, this is the game for you. Next up, I purchased DuckTales Remastered. I was never really into the original NES DuckTales. I have it. I know a lot of people say that's a really great game. I just myself could never get really into it. But still, the remastered version was on my radar. But I was not going to pay $14.99 for it. But during the Steam Summer Sale, it was all the way down to $3.74. So that is a great price to jump in it. I do like the update to the game. I mean, this game came out originally on like when the PS3 was the system of the day. So it's quite old at this point. So I played it a bit, and I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I'll go back to the original or not. I think I'd prefer the original maybe, but this one seemed a little bit easier to control from what I remember. But yeah, I just bought it pretty much just because it was so cheap. I don't know how heavily invested I'd be in this game otherwise. And then, lastly, I did buy a game called Slipstream, originally $9.98. Picked it up for half price, $4.99, and this game really reminded me of Outrun. It's like Outrun, but with a focus on slipstreaming, and of course you've got those old retro graphics, and you've got rivals that pop up, and you base every so often the area splits, and you decide which route you want to go. But yeah, slipstreaming does play a major role in the game, as you would think with a title like Slipstream. But yeah, there's really not too much I could say other than, yeah, you just drive, and I crashed a lot, and it's like Outrun, but not. So yeah, that's all the games, but I do have a couple of vinyl records that you may be interested in if you're into vinyl. First up, I did get, what is it, the Devil's Crush and Aliens Crush soundtracks, and I found out about this through Facebook, which also led me to another kind of site that sells records I didn't really know about, and that was Enjoy the Ride Records. So I did pick this up. It did come in a couple of formats, but I mean colors. You know, when I say formats, I mean the color of the record. The one I got is like a pinball silver. The title of this record is kind of a lie because it's not just Devil's Crush and Aliens Crush. In fact, Devil's Crush and Alien Crush soundtracks are on side A. On side B, you're actually getting the Star Soldier soundtrack, and I actually find that to be a little bit more interesting than the Devil's Crush and Alien Crush soundtracks, which I still find to be fantastic, but I can really get into the Star Soldier soundtrack as well. Now, while I was on Enjoy the Ride Records, I did wind up buying this one too. This is the 8-Bit Time Paradox. So the packaging is deceiving because it's all Game Boy related. In fact, if you were to look at the record, it's kind of got that Game Boy detailing on it, but none of the tracks on here have anything to do with the Game Boy, nor is the music in the style of a Game Boy game. It says featuring reimagined hits from Metroid, Mega Man, Final Fantasy VII, Shovel Knight, and many more. And it's more like almost orchestrated remix music. Not bad at all. In fact, I sampled it before I bought it. But yeah, it's got the title screen from Metroid, the main theme from Breath of the Wild, Anxiety from Final Fantasy VII, Grotto Valley from Ocarina of Time, a melody from Mega Man, and then on side B, we've got music from Titanfall 2, Shovel Knight, Battlefield 1, and I don't know what the Battle of Monchin Bill is. All of the above artists. If somebody want to tell me what the Battle of Monchi Bill is, I don't know what that is. So it's kind of a misleading record in the fact that you'd think that this is all from, you know, remixes of Game Boy games or sounds like a Game Boy, but it's neither of those. It's just the packaging styling choice. Finally, also from Enjoy the Ride Records, I had to get the Transformers. This is the television soundtrack, the original television soundtrack. This has nothing to do with the movie, although they did have a soundtrack for the movie, but it's all sold out. I would have probably bought that as well. But this is a fun record to have on in the background. Just the soundtrack from the Transformers TV show. It did come in a variety of stylings, but I went with I think this is the Megatron purple and silver version. There was a bunch of other ones that were like Optimus Prime and Splattered. Those were sold out, so I took what I could get. I was kind of a bit hesitant on this one, but I'm really glad I did buy it. I also really like the artwork on the inside of this. It really is like it's like how the catalogs you would get in the with the actual Transformers themselves. And this is just fantastic artwork on the inside, and then you've got the original animation or artwork for the cover and on the back. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do to close out the video. Thanks for watching. I've got quite a bit of editing to do here, and I'll see you all next time.